Hey guys, so I am going to do a little movie review on the movie called Truth or Die, and this is something I kind of just found on Netflix randomly. I'll go through the horror section and just kind of pick some movies, add them to my instant queue in hopes that I'll review them one day. So I decided to watch this one the other night, and I will say it's kind of like a hidden gem on Netflix. I was actually really surprised and impressed by it. So let me get into a little bit of the plot. It is a British horror movie, and basically it's set in this like teen party in the beginning anyway. The intro is kind of like this teen party. I think they're teenagers, college students, I don't know. They look like teenagers and they act like teenagers. So basically they're at this party, there's drinking, there's drugs, and then one girl who's kind of like the main girl decides to play Truth or Dare, and so she comes downstairs with the champagne bottle and they start playing Truth or Dare, and it's a couple turns or so and then it lands on the nerdy boy, and he says truth, and as expected, you kind of expect the nerdy guy to be like not wanting to do a dare, and they tell him, or the the main girl, she's like, if you could sleep with anyone at this party, no strings attached, no expectations, whatever, who would it be? And he picks this one girl who he has a secret crush on, but it's not really a secret anymore because he does some coke in a bedroom and gets some confidence from that, and then he goes up to her and approaches her and asks if they could go out sometime. She has a boyfriend at the party, but anyway, so he says her. And her boyfriend gets a little upset about that and punches him in the face, and so he goes out to the patio and starts crying. And that's kind of all you really see, and it'll do flashbacks here and there throughout the movie back to that party, but that's kind of the basis of the intro of the story. Then I'm assuming it's years and years later because everybody looks different. They're kind of more matured. They're different and different hair colors and everything, so I'm assuming it's years later. They are invited to Felix, who is the nerdy boy, invited to his birthday party, supposedly hosted by him. And so there's 5 of them. They all go to his like mansion, and I think it's the groundskeeper is like, oh, you have to go to the groundskeeper house or something. I don't know what it is. It's like this cabin like a half a mile behind the mansion. So they're all walking there. They're not really friends with him, but they want like free booze and everything. So that's why they decide to go. Like I said, they're not really matured, but they matured. So they get there and they see, instead of seeing Felix, they see Felix's older brother, who was in the army, who served in Afghanistan. And so that's kind of important, but not really. Kind of. I think it's relevant to the story. So then you don't see Felix anywhere. He kind of explains where he is and why he's not there yet, and stuff like that. So he's like, you're more than welcome to stay and enjoy and hang out, and there's drinks and food and stuff, so help yourself. So they start to party and stuff like that. And that's when things go awry. Now, you find out later through the older brother explaining, he says Felix isn't here, and he's saying that he hung himself, and he pulls out this postcard, and the movie kind of revolves around this postcard, and it says Truth or Dare bitch or something like that, and it was mailed to Felix, and I guess his older brother put 2 and 2 together and he hung himself. Felix did, that is. And the older brother thinks it's because of this game that they played and that he got punched and made fun of and all this. So then he starts to tie up the teenagers, I don't know what they are, college students, his friends, and that's when it kind of takes off. So I don't want to like give parts of the movie away, even though that was basically the whole intro. The intro is kind of slow, and I read the reviews on Netflix and so many people are like the first 15 minutes are so boring. I enjoyed the first 15 minutes. I thought it was interesting. It kept me wanting to watch, to see what would happen. And I also read that people said there were a lot of twists and like the end is, a big twist, and so I was just curious in that regard. So I did stick it out, and I'm really glad I did. This movie has so many like twists and turns and plot changes that I was just like blown away. It was so creative because I don't know, I thought it would be kind of like one of those typical type movies, and it was in a sense pretty average storyline, but I liked the twist at the end for the most part. The story part I liked, and I thought it was pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get into the ratings. So for acting, I gave it a 9. I thought it was really well acted. I really liked everybody who played their characters. They did it pretty well. Plot, I give an 8 just because it's a standard revenge plot, and I think it's something we've all seen before. It's not really an original storyline. I like that they made it a little different with the ending, but as a whole, it was pretty much a revenge plot. Scare factor, I gave an 8. It definitely had some cringe-worthy moments and very good suspense moments. It didn't rely a lot on gore or scare jumps or anything like that. Jump scares, rather. So I liked that. It wasn't gory at all. I mean, there was some blood here and there, but it was more of a disturbing factor. For instance, he does, the older brother does this test, and it's the battery acid test. And basically, he tells one of the people to pick which bottle. One has tap water and one has battery acid, and it's hooked up in their stomach. There's a tube attached to both, hooked up and like shoved down their throat into their stomach. And the other person has to decide which one to release into her stomach. So I thought that was pretty cool. It definitely cringe, like it made me like, it was pretty disturbing. And it was awesome. I liked that kind of thing. So it's more like those kind of disturbing aspects than the gore. Characters, I gave a 7. They were really generic, and I mean 7's still pretty good. I did like them to an extent, but you get like the typical bully boyfriend, the slutty girl, the nerdy boy who gets picked on. I think those are pretty standard in a lot of movies, so I wasn't too impressed with the characters or the character development or anything like that. And then you have like the nice girl and like the party one, the druggie. I mean, it's just kind of like standard for a horror movie, so I wasn't a big fan of all the characters, but I did think that they were all well acted. Effects, there weren't really any. I think one person gets his finger shot off or something, so I mean there was some effects in that regard, some gore, but not really. And I gave it an 8 anyway, even though there wasn't too many effects to really judge. I couldn't really go on a lot, but it got an 8. So the overall rating ended up with an 8. It was a pretty good movie. I really liked it. I thought the ending wasn't predictable by any means, but I feel like it's completely unrealistic how they reacted. Like, the ones that are left alive are like, they aren't freaking out like a normal person would, I think, if they had just experienced that and like their friends had died. I feel like you wouldn't be all like cocky and like, I don't know, it was just odd. And I know it's part of the story, and if you've seen it and you've seen the ending, you know what I'm talking about, but I don't know, I didn't like the ending in the sense that it wasn't realistic. It's not how people would actually act. It was very much a movie ending, like a Hollywood type ending is what I call it. So in that sense, it wasn't the best, but I did like the twist at the end, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So overall, I'd say give it a try. I'll have the trailer listed down below. I did really enjoy it. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I wanted to know what happened. It was pretty suspenseful, and I haven't really found anything like that on Netflix in a while, so I was really happy to find that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave requests on what movies you want me to review next, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.